Welcome to this special topic webcast of the Conference Board. We're talking about age today. Let's talk about age, including age as part of your diversity and inclusion strategy. I'd like to go over some of what we're going to be talking about today. Today we're talking about age with two experts from AARP. And some questions we'll be addressing are, how do each of us carry our own implicit biases or preconceived notions about people of different ages? How does that affect how we interact and work together? How have some companies incorporated age as a dimension of their own diversity and inclusion strategies? And what lessons and best practices can you bring to your own organization to become more inclusive to workers of all ages in terms of recruitment, retention, and employee engagement? First, I want to let you know how to earn credits if you're one of those participants who would like to. The organizations that we offer credits to are listed on the slide. And the instructions for each certification, each accreditation are listed below. In particular, note that for the CPE, you need to click OK for 3 pop-ups that will occur on your screen during the program. So just be sure to respond to those. You need to stay online for the entire webcast, and credit is available for participation in the live webcast only. So now I'd like to introduce our guest today. I'm Diane Lim. I'm Principal Economist at the Conference Board, and I'm joined by Camille Wilson and Lori Trawinsky today. They're both of AARP. Camille is Vice President for Enterprise Initiatives at AARP. She has 20 years of demonstrated experience devising and implementing highly effective brand awareness and social marketing campaigns for Fortune 50 companies and leading nonprofit organizations. Informed by her extensive work on behalf of underserved populations, Ms. Wilson is driven by a personal and professional commitment to fostering clear, effective communication and meaningful human connections. As Vice President of Enterprise Initiatives, Ms. Wilson serves as AARP's strategic lead for Disrupt Aging, an initiative designed to fight ageism and change the paradigm on culture and aging in America. You can follow Camille on Twitter at Ilimac, which I was trying to figure out is just Camille spelled backwards. And Lori Trawinsky is the Age Diversity Thought Leader and Director of the Financial Security Team at AARP. Lori is AARP's Age Diversity Thought Leader and is Director of the Financial Security Team at AARP's Public Policy Institute. Dr. Trawinsky is leading AARP's work on age diversity and inclusion, both from research and outreach perspectives. She frequently speaks to the national media about age diversity, the multi-generational workforce, and consumer debt issues. Dr. Trawinsky holds a PhD, an MA, and a BA in Economics and Finance from the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. In addition, she recently completed the Diversity and Inclusion Certificate Program at the ILR School of Cornell University. But fear not, this webcast may be more fun than you think, because she is also a professional stand-up comedian. So thank you, Camille and Lori, for joining me today for this very important topic. I'm going to turn it over to Camille now.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you for that lovely introduction. It's great to be here today to talk about aging and including age as part of your diversity and inclusion strategy. I usually like to start off my piece of this by asking people, what is the first word they think of when they hear the word aging? Just the very first word that pops up. And typically we assume that we know the types of responses that we're going to get. And so I'd be really shocked. I know we're going to poll the audience and see what comes up. But the reality is the way people are aging is changing. People are living longer, healthier lives, and certainly that's not true of everyone. But the reality is people are changing, living longer. 85 plus is the fastest growing population, closely followed by folks 100 years and older.
Yes, so old is the number one word that people have thought of so far. I got old.
Yes.
Retirement eligible.
Mhm.
which is one word if you put a hyphen there.
Okay.
Let's see. Aging, old, old, old.
Mhm.
Seasoned. That's nice.
Okay, that's a nice way of
It's a
saying
little nicer than old.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very nice.
But these are pretty consistent in
Yeah.
terms of when you hear aging, right? People typically go to old. It evokes a very kind of frail image for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Dated.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right.
Any others that
Well,
are coming
come
through?
on. Let's see. Well, that's all we've
Okay.
got so far. Oh, experience.
Okay.
That's
we've
very
got-
positive.
we've got a few-
Experienced, yes. So we have some more
A few
positive.
positive ones in there.
Elders.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we like to start with that question because
Yeah.
it often surfaces and shows us that we do all tend to have implicit bias when it comes to what we think of when it comes to aging. But the reality is, from the moment we're born, we are all literally aging. And so how do we think differently about that over the course of a lifespan? And I think it's a great opportunity to tee up a video that we have
Okay.
to kind of demonstrate.
First, I got to get in past prime, health issues, boomer, wrinkles,
Uh-huh.
health concerns. Okay, we're going to go on, and we're going to go to
We're
your
gonna
video.
so we're gonna do a video. One of the things that I get to work on is how do we tell the story of the new realities of aging through storytelling. So this is a piece that we put together to kind of demonstrate what old really is and how we might shift perceptions.
Okay, wonderful. So let's roll the video.
Hey, how's it going? You can stand right there. That's Mark. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. Just tell us your first name and your age.
My real age?
My name is Paolo. I'm 25 years old.
My name is Daniela, and I'm 19.
24. 35.
31. 33.
I'm 26 years old.
What age do you consider to be old?
Late 40s?
Maybe 50.
I feel like 30 is a new 20, so I'd say like 40 is old.
I'd probably say 50s.
I'd like you to show me how an old person would cross the street. Show me how an old person would send a text message. How might an old person do a push-up? What about jumping jacks? Okay, hang on. There's someone I want you to meet.
Hello, I'm Birch. I'm 66.
Hi, I'm Daphne, and I'm 68.
I'm Dee, and I'm 55.
George Fassbinder, 75.
My name is Parvati. I'm 70.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We're going to give you about 2 minutes to teach each other something that you are good at.
I can teach you a jump that I do.
Okay, please.
Both of your legs go up, and your arm goes up, and your left arm goes like to the side. Ready?
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Lift. 1, 2, 3. And bring it to your heart. And bring it to your heart. Add the head in. Yeah.
I'm going to try to get your balance and raise up. Now, you can bring your legs and your feet up. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. So when you come out of a turn, either way, you go back to that basics.
Over. Now forward. Over. Yeah.
Square it like this, and give me a hook. Hook. Jab, cross, hook, and then we'll go like this. All right?
1, 2, 3.
Now, what age might you consider to be old?
Probably 80 or 90. He could just do everything that I told him to do. An age that I would consider to be old now might be 100.
Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I said in the 50s. I thought that would be old. But when I thought about it, like...
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
I can do it.
It really changed my thinking of what old is. You've taught me something today. Clearly, there's no way she's old, you know?
Now I know from today, hey, I don't look at age.
At my age, I feel like I did when I was in my 20s.
There's so many things that I still want to do. There's so many things that I can do. As long as I'm growing and learning, then age doesn't matter.
When people start stopping, that's when they start getting old.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you. It was great meeting you.
How long have you been doing this? Is this a new skill?
40 years.
Wow.
Okay, great. So, Camille, I'm wondering, with all these changes in terms of population aging and population living longer and people working longer, what's AARP doing to address this issue and kind of tackle these emerging attitudes?
Absolutely. That's actually one of the privileges and that I get to work on is leading our Disrupt Aging initiative. But really, Disrupt Aging is our CEO's vision, right? And it's a rallying cry to change the way we talk about aging in this country. And so how do we start to challenge, as we see some of in the video, younger folks came with a preconceived notion of what is old, where some of their numbers were a little bit skewed and a little bit scary, right? But we see how just through 2 minutes or a few minutes of interaction, how perceptions are changed and challenged. So that's a lot of what Disrupt Aging is about. And our CEO wrote a book in 2016 because she felt really strongly that there was a need to change the narrative, the cultural paradigm on aging, that too often we talk about aging in terms of decline, in terms of frailty, in terms of all the negatives associated. And certainly there are realities that come along with aging, but increasingly, as we've said, people are living longer, healthier lives. And so how do we start to shift perceptions around that through our own thoughts, attitudes, and behaviors? So that's a lot of what AARP is doing through Disrupt Aging. How do we change the conversation?
And Laura, you work on policy issues. How has this affected what you work on at AARP?
So everyone in the organization is being asked to think differently. And so in the past, we would present information on the business case for older workers. And we still believe strongly there is a business case for hiring older workers. There are many myths that we need to disrupt in that area. But what if we asked a different question? And so instead of saying, you know, what can we do to advance the needs of older workers, what if we said, how can we incorporate age in a discussion around diversity and inclusion? And so how did I come to that? I did research starting in 2015. I came up with a very stunning statistic. PwC surveyed global CEOs. They found that 64% of CEOs have a diversity and inclusion strategy in place. But of the 64%, only 8% included age as a dimension. And so...
Only 8%.
8% of the 64.
Of the 64%.
So it became very clear to me that this is an opportunity. This is an area that people need to start discussing. And so what became an interesting question to ask turned into, let's do a case study report. Let's see if there are companies out there that are doing something to address age in their workforce. And so not only did I find that there are companies, I'm proud to say that our company is one of them. So let's take a look at the next video.
Great.
The nature of work is changing. Today we can have anywhere from 4 to 5 generations in the workplace at one time. Certainly in the research that we've produced through our Public Policy Institute here at AARP, we can draw the connection to a better product and a better culture and ultimately a better service to consumers.
The
Having the best workforce is important to PNC. It's good for our company because diverse teams solve problems more creatively, faster than teams that are homogeneous.
So if each line of business creates this inclusive culture and become that much more effective as teams, the profitability of the overall organization is going to benefit as well. We have an employee business resource group which turned into an intergenerational group.
iGen is one of the enterprise business resource groups that PNC has. iGen stands for intergenerational, and it's meant to focus on how do we interact across all generations. So how can you learn from each other and grow in your role at the bank by understanding those differences?
Reverse mentoring enables our more mature employees and our junior employees to be able to develop relationships where they can learn from one another.
Reverse mentoring started as a way to take emerging talent, so that's me, and senior leaders, that's Steve, so that people in the emerging talent field could kind of share ideas we have with the senior leaders. I thought it was a really cool dynamic for me to mentor a senior leader.
I think my generation was truly work, and climb the ladder. Carolyn, showed me that it's beyond just, earning a paycheck per se. It's having kind of a meaning as to what you're doing, and not only at work, but also that work-life balance.
Sometimes I get judged, like, hey, she's too young, she's not qualified. Steve did not judge me for my age. It really gave me the courage to kind of go out into my normal working environment and be myself and not apologize for myself.
She started realizing that her differences were really an asset to the organization.
Age discrimination is not just about the old, it's also about the young, and you don't have to be a particular age to be discriminated against. Older workers and younger workers want a lot of the same thing. And so you see those same kind of benefits that appeal to the young also appeal to the older worker.
We have made a concerted effort to think about benefits not in terms of age specific, but in terms of life stage. Whether that means caregiving leave, phasing retirement program, a variety of health and wellness offerings, having a renewal after 7 years of service where people can take 4 weeks off for a sabbatical. All those things can apply to at any life stage of an employee.
CEOs all over the country, they all tell me that it's going to be more important for them to retrain existing workers, and so that bodes well for a 50-plus workforce.
Mature individuals still have to continue to be lifelong learners. They still have to sharpen the saw. They still have to be able to be up on various skill sets, etc., that are going to make them of value to the company in as strong and as passionate a way as when they first started. So do you need millennials to relate to what the millennials need? Absolutely. Do you need baby boomers or Gen Xers to relate? Absolutely.
With AARP, we use a structured interviewing process whose goal is to eliminate incumbent biases, of which age is one of them. We don't require dates on the resume. We don't require them to list every single work experience.
We know that we're getting better products by having 4 and 5 generations in the workplace at one time.
This is how you do it. This is how you have a successful company. You have a diverse set of employees who learn from each other, and you foster communication and you foster diversity.
It's about talent. I want talented, diverse teams.
That's what we hope that each and every company will be able to do.
Great. So I think this is an appropriate time to ask a question of our audience related to what we've just seen about some companies that are including age as part of their D&I strategy. Let's go to the poll question. The next poll question for our audience is, does your organization include age as part of its diversity and inclusion strategy? So let's see. We already heard from Lori that not very many organizations do, according to their work. We might have a selected sample here because, a lot of the people who would tune into this show are probably already somewhat enlightened about the issue. But Like so far, we have half of them said yes, that their organizations do include diversity and inclusion. 30% no. Some of them don't really know. About 20% don't know. And so that's a pretty good statistic. Went down a little bit just now. So almost half of the participants that answered this poll question say that they do include age, or there's at least starting to. And so let me close out that poll question, and we'll go on to our next slide. And you know, Lori, why do you think that age tends to be an overlooked area? Sorry. Why do you think age tends to be an overlooked area in D&I?
I think some of it stems from the fact that age is a protected class by law. Once workers reach the age of 40, you are technically considered an older worker. And I think that it makes some organizations uneasy about talking about it. I mean, even in our culture, we don't really talk about each other's ages in a conversation. And so in the workplace, I think it's another place where people are extra careful to not bring it up. But I think what I found with the case study report is for organizations that are willing to address age diversity in some way, they actually benefit from addressing it because ultimately it helps people work better together.
And I would just add that I think it's increasingly important for those who are not familiar. You know, it behooves us. 2015 was the first year that we experienced the 5-generation workforce.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have to start thinking about this. 80% of boomers, people plan to work over the age of 65.
Yeah.
So these are things that workforces really need to be thinking about.
Yeah, great. So Lori, some of the case studies, what can you share with us from those?
So I examined 5 companies to try to find what some of the practices are and programs are that they have in place. So one organization I looked at, Huntington Ingalls Industries, is actually the largest shipbuilder for the U.S. Navy. And they are motivated by a need to build teams because it takes 7 years to build an aircraft carrier. So you need a cohesive team and you need long-term commitment to get that kind of work done. One of the things they have is an apprentice school, and it's open to people of all ages, and they've been finding as the years have gone on that more older workers, and when I say older, I mean not sort of 20-year-olds or 22-year-olds, but people in their 30s, people who have been with the company for some period of time, are entering the apprentice school because they see it as a path towards success at the company. They also had an intergenerational event where they brought in people from different generations. They shared stories, photos, memorabilia. The photo in the slide here is from that event. Over 200 people attended, and it was a huge success. They also have a series of awareness videos, and sometimes the first step in diversity and inclusion programs is building awareness that there's an issue here and we should start thinking differently. So Huntington Ingalls was a great example of that, and they also formed an intergenerational employee resource group for the purpose of bringing people of different generations together.
That's great.
And then the next company is Centrica PLC. They're headquartered in the United Kingdom, and they're actually the parent company of British Gas. And so what they've found is they've had difficulty retaining a workforce. So they've created networks where employees can share information. These are like parenting networks, caregiving networks, things like that. They also have an apprentice program that they've opened to people of all ages. So again, it's we're seeing even at the global scale, companies are addressing this. So PNC, we saw some of the people, the leaders of PNC, but what makes them unique is diversity and inclusion is a business priority there, and age is part of it. And they also have an intergenerational employee business resource group. And by adding the word business, these groups are required to tie their mission to achieving business results and helping PNC better reach various communities. So it's part of their business strategy. They also hold managers accountable for a series of diversity metrics, and I think we're increasingly seeing companies doing that as they recognize the importance. So AT&T has a unique setup. They use the leaders of their diversity and inclusion employee resource groups to put them into leadership training for more senior roles within the company, and they use they use the employee resource groups to do that. The other thing that's interesting, they have an employee resource group for people under 50, and then they have another one for people over 50. And they do trainings like how can managers who are older better manage people who are younger, and vice versa. And that's valuable business information, especially when we're dealing with a workforce of 5 generations. And then the final company in this study was United Health Group, and they recognized that a lot of their clients are older. And so they have made a very conscious effort to try to recruit people to mirror their customer base.
Yeah.
And so that's also important. And they also use video trainings to raise awareness of communication preferences, that different generations prefer. So ultimately, it helps them attain their business goals.
So it's really interesting to me that, there are obviously a lot of different ways that organizations are addressing age diversity. I mean, it's interesting to me that sometimes you're saying you put all the generations together and you have dialogue and you get to know each other better and become more familiar with people of other ages in your workplace. Other times maybe you kind of target the audience and say, hey, young people, let us tell you something about working with older people, or hey, older people, here's what you can learn from younger people, and kind of create the peer grouping. And what are have you concluded that there are certain promising practices that other organizations can take away from your case studies?
Yeah, so I'd like to share with you these promising practices. Things as simple as recruiting talent of all ages. Oftentimes organizations don't do that. Sometimes it's an inadvertent thing. Other times it is somewhat deliberate, but what we would like to see is removing the lens of age from the employment conversation. Employment conversation should be about knowledge, skills, and experience, and what someone's potential is, and whether they have the skills to do the job. So these are things that many people who have active diversity and inclusion programs are already doing. But I think a review of the promising practices, a look at the case study report, might give some organizations some other ideas on things they could be doing. But the final thing I'll say is, successful diversity and inclusion programs don't happen by accident. They must be intentional. They must be supported and be part of a larger strategy. And I think that's what leads to the greatest success. But as we have these conversations about age in the workplace, we've tended to talk thus far about the very positive aspects of that. But I think there's a part of the conversation on age in the workplace that we haven't touched on yet. So I'd like to take a look at one more video.
Okay, let's see. We cue up the final video.
Hi. Hi. Just one question really quick. You're not over 40, are you? No. Perfect, great.
Age limit?
I'm not over 40. I'm over 40. We are not serving anybody over 40 today. We're trying to have a little bit younger vibe today. You are exactly what we're looking for. If you're under 40, I'm actually not going to take your order, sir. Thank you so much for your interest, but we're just trying something different. You're just not exactly what we're looking for.
Every day, age discrimination happens in the workplace behind closed doors. And we wanted to see what it would look like out in the open. So we hid cameras in a food truck and refused to serve anyone over 40.
Are you under 40?
No, this is for my daughter, it's not for me.
Oh, it's for your daughter. Yeah. As long as you don't eat them. Okay. Do you promise that you won't eat them? I promise. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Actually, if you could just step away from the food truck since you're not under 40, and I'll bring you the beignets. I don't want people to get the wrong impression if you're standing over here.
Ridiculous.
You guys are under 40, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I can take your order. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I don't know what's happening.
This is a stupid thing. It's starting to get really pissed off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a specific problem with somebody, then
Yeah,
say that instead
screw
of
you.
saying. Are you for real?
Walking away, I felt really upset. I almost started crying. I was updating my resume recently, and I sort of wanted to sound experienced without sounding too old. I was like, oh, I'm experienced, but that's almost not an asset anymore. It's like I have to sound young and relevant.
Older people just don't really fit into our culture.
That's ridiculous.
We actually don't think that this truck is a good fit for you. I'm sorry.
I was outraged. This stunt makes me want to take action to help others who might be discriminated against because of their age.
So, wow, that video made me cringe a lot. And it kind of reminded me, some of our viewers might know the show Impractical Jokers, which I only know because of my 20-some-year-old children. But, you know, I'm curious. I think it would be great to ask our audience, how did the video make you all feel when you saw that? Did it make you laugh? Did it make you angry? Did it make you cry? Or did you feel nothing? So, most people, angry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Angry.
That's pretty consistent. I mean, this one, and I want to reiterate, this was a staged social experiment, so it was not the food truck and the lady at the food truck. Those were actors and props, but the people who approached the food truck were absolutely real people, and so real experiences.
Right.
And you can see how people are struggling to reconcile kind of what's going on here, and then to see at the end, you know, the emotion to be discriminated against because of age, and just how impactful that is.
Yeah.
Right?
So let's close out the poll. We get the idea that most of us are angry about that or cringing about it.
I think that's a good thing.
So
I've had people cry when I
Really?
presented the video. There were a few people that teared up
Yeah.
because I think it hits us in an emotional way that's totally unexpected, and it gets people to start thinking, "Wow, I didn't, you know, age discrimination never hit me." And they never thought about it. And this
well,
brings it up.
and so I think we'd like to ask another question related to this, and that is, you know, have you yourself personally experienced age discrimination, whether it be as an older or younger person, or have you seen someone you know face it in the workplace, not at a food truck, but in the workplace? And again, you have over 80% coming in, around 80%, over 80%, a little bit below 80%, it's hovering. But it seems like the vast majority of our viewers have either experienced it personally or seen it happen in their workplace. And, you know, what steps, you know, that's obviously a very concerning statistic. What steps can be taken to address this age discrimination issue that obviously it does exist in our workplace?
So one of the places we see it is in the hiring process. And so we have put together hold on here. There we go.
There we go.
We have put together some pointers for how employers can attract talent of all ages. And one thing to think about if you're an employer is, what does the landing page on your recruitment website look like? Does it show a diverse workforce? I think people are conscious of showing a diverse workforce in terms of race, ethnicity, and gender, but how many people take the time to make sure that the photo on their website also represents some age diversity? And so if you're an older worker and you see a landing page with people who are very, very young, and you know, it will potentially impact your willingness to apply for a job in an organization like that. And then it may even impact your ability to get in the door, because it could be the employer is sending a message. But for those of you out there who may have a non-age diverse photo and it's not intentional on your part, well, maybe it's something that you can take back after today's webcast and take a look at it. We've also done things within our own organization to try to take the age bias out of the recruitment process. Things like we don't require dates of when educational achievements were attained. We don't require people to list every job they've ever had. Because that's another way to try to determine, how old someone might be. If someone applies through LinkedIn and they have a profile photo, the recruiter will not see the photo when the information is uploaded. We don't make gender, ethnicity, and disability data available or collected until after a job offer is made. So we try to take those things out. We no longer ask for compensation history. Some states now prohibit requiring salary history when applying for a job, but we do that at AARP, and many states are now starting to do that. And the other thing is, the job descriptions themselves. Historically, we've seen job descriptions that say maximum years of experience, or things like digital native, digital natives only. And those things are discriminatory, and to the extent that you're not checking your job descriptions for those kinds of things, you should. And one other final thing that we've implemented at AARP is a structured interviewing process where anyone who interviews someone coming in for a job must go through training and must go through a panel interview, so there's more than one opinion of people sitting at the table making those decisions.
You mentioned organizational websites, and one thing you can do is make sure your website looks like it shows a diverse workforce. What if the organization doesn't have a diverse workforce age-wise? How do you, would it be false advertising, or you're a tech company and you're a startup and it's all people under 30 that are, what do you suggest to an organization like that maybe has the reputation, which might be fairly accurate, of only hiring young people, but they want to hire a more diverse and age diverse workforce because they know that older people can bring a lot of wisdom about the business to organization? How do you balance that need to project an image that you want to be versus the reality of what your organization currently looks like?
Well, I would argue the biggest issue facing the tech industry is the gender balance.
Yes, that's true.
And so I think it would be unlikely that we would see a photo of 10 men and 1 woman sitting there. And so, yes, employers should be honest about their workplaces, but I dare say employers who are thinking about the future should be preparing for the onslaught of an aging workforce and more generations in it, and so they should be thinking ahead and planning for it. So I'm not advocating false advertising.
Right.
I'm advocating putting some thought into how you're presenting your information out to the world.
Right.
And I would just add that we know that given that 80% of boomers are planning to work past 65, right?
Yeah.
And so, technology didn't just pop up. Silicon Valley is not a new thing. There are people who are aging in technology, right? It's how are they included? How are they considered and valued? People are out there. The talent is out there, and it's out there across all ages. So it's a very hard argument to believe that they can't find age-diverse talent in the technology industry. I think if you have a burgeoning startup and it's largely formed by young people, whether it's through mentorship or sponsorship, there are examples out there. There are people that they can go to who have blazed the trail that can still add value.
So one thing that ties into this is that people over the age of 50 account for the largest amount of economic activity in this country. And so for employers in any industry to be focused only on a younger population, they're missing out on the opportunity of providing products and services that address the needs of the older population. and they often have more money to spend.
Yes. We know that the people over 50 spend 51 cents of every dollar. So there seems to be an incongruence in terms of how products and services are designed, conceived, and then ultimately marketed. Because
Well,
where does
yeah,
the-
people over 50 have the most economic
That's right.
resources
That's right.
now. And, you know, we're also a growing part of the workforce, the fastest growing part of the workforce right now. What else can employers do to address the multi-generational workforce? Like, what are some other things they can do to expand
So
it?
one area that is often overlooked in terms of thinking multi-generationally is in the area of benefit programs. And so one of the things that we've been doing at AARP, and again, I like to use our company as an example because we are doing some really interesting things in this space. Recently, a year or two ago, we started offering paid leave for family caregiving. This is specifically for people caring for either a spouse, a parent, or a grandparent. So it skews toward older people. But we now offer 80 hours of paid leave per year for people to take care of those caregiving responsibilities. And this is in addition to sick leave and vacation leave. So we also have a comprehensive wellness program, and it includes financial wellness, because as we talk about benefits and as we talk about the multi-generational workforce, it's very important to get younger people to start thinking about retirement savings and financial planning. And so this is an area where employers can have a great impact on helping people live better financial lives. One other unique thing that we offer is a paid sabbatical. We call it renewal, but after 7 years of service, employees are invited to take 4 weeks off of additional paid leave to recharge, rejuvenate, pursue something that they would like to pursue. And so that's something we don't hear a lot of companies offering. We also think you can apply to multiple generations through the scheduling. So flexible work hours, compressed work weeks, and telecommuting options are things that appeal to workers of all ages. As we've looked at research where you look at all these surveys where they're like, what do millennials like? What do they want? Often the same things that millennials want are the same things that boomers want. Maybe boomers were less likely to ask for them. And so it could be that we're now benefiting from a more vocal generation. But many of us, we're all individuals, we're all humans, we all have families. Many of us want those kinds of flexible options. And then finally, when people are nearing the end of their career, it is sometimes helpful for employers to offer a phased retirement program so that people can slowly ease out of the workforce, but it also provides a tremendous opportunity for knowledge transfer and information sharing. And so companies, as they face a shortage of skilled workers, can really benefit from offering flexibility to people who would like to phase down their work life.
Yeah. So we're getting comments about the paid leave for elder care. A lot of us who are, I'm in my 50s, and I went through something like that with my parents just a year ago, where my mother suddenly passed away and my dad has dementia, and I had to take him in for 2.5 months, 24/7 care. And but most places that you don't, I had to just try to work with my dad hovering around me, So I think that this is, a lot of us are in the so-called sandwich generation, where we might even still have kids at home or just barely out the door in college. And then meanwhile, we're just getting past the child care demand years, and then here we go. We have to worry about our parents, and we have to have that flexibility in our schedules in order to be able to take care of them. So lots of our participants like that idea of companies doing more for the elder care leave.
And I would say it's not just for necessarily older worker. I think that is one of the perceptions that we want to challenge. It's for all of our employees. And we recently released a report to show that 10 million millennials serve as family caregivers.
Right.
And so this is also affects their ability to work and earn over a lifetime. And so it benefits all.
Yeah, we're
you
all
know?
part of multi-generational
That's right.
families.
That's
so
right.
yeah, we all
That's
have different
right.
demands. Yeah, coming at us from all sides.
Yep.
Right. This is great. Camille, what resources, AARP is obviously probably the most involved organization in the world on these issues. What other resources does AARP provide for job seekers and employers?
Absolutely. So we have a robust set of resources on our website. So I think it's displayed for folks. If you go to www.aarp.org/work, you'll find that unlike traditional job and career websites, that this provides not just job listings and opportunities or a portal to available opportunities, but it also provides tools and resources, how to strengthen your resume, connecting with other communities of job seekers, experts giving advice kind of on different ways to be more competitive in when applying for jobs. So I would encourage folks to check out that information. In addition to that, we have the AARP Employer Pledge Program. And as you can see, it's a national effort to help employers just kind of solve some of the current and future staffing challenges that they're thinking about, and direct job seekers to employer that we know value and appreciate age diversity in the workplace. And so when employers, we now have a little over 600 employers of different sizes that have signed the Employer Pledge. And so, of course, we want that to increase that number significantly. I won't be prescriptive, but when employers come on and they sign the pledge, they are committing to the belief that equal opportunity for all workers, regardless of age, that the 50-plus worker should have a level playing field in terms of their ability to compete and obtain jobs, and recognizing the value of experienced workers and recruiting across all age groups. And so they're just basic principles.
When companies sign this pledge, does AARP come along and say, thank you for signing the pledge and we're going to help you? Like if you have questions for AARP,
yes,
in terms of how do we as an organization set up like an elder care leave policy, right, or a family care leave policy?
We absolutely, I think basically the companies that sign the pledge get a differentiated set of resources and access to counsel and information.
So one of the other things that they get if you sign the Employer Pledge is the ability to participate in our virtual career fairs. So throughout the year, we sponsor career fairs where we bring job seekers and employers together in a virtual job hunting environment. So these events have happened for the past several years, and they've been very successful.
And the job seekers, are these AARP members or?
Some are, but no, it's not excluded
It's
to
not?
AARP
Okay,
members. Yes,
okay.
no, these are opportunities that are available to folks who qualify as an older worker, and as Lori said, legally that's over the age of 40, but largely,
over the age of 40?
Yes, older workers
fall in the law, and older workers age 40 and over.
and older. Yeah. So because we're a membership organization, much of we do focus on the 50 plus, but it's not, our services are not just limited to members.
Okay.
So.
Okay, very good. I think that we want to go on to I think we want to wind down and ask for some questions from the audience. So Disrupt Aging is your hashtag?
Yes.
Yes. AARP's?
Yes, and so I would say you can get there either through aarp.org or through disruptaging.org. And what you'll see there is slightly different than what's on aarp.org. It's largely storytelling and how we kind of present and show the different and varied experiences around how people are aging. You'll find some of our videos there. We like to highlight who we call everyday disruptors, folks who are really either triumphing through adversity or really challenging perceptions on what it means to
And
age.
is that a hashtag that you all use on like Twitter and
Absolutely, yes. We would
I don't
love
know.
for
What are you on Instagram?
folks.
Are you on Facebook?
Thank you, Diane. Yes, I love it. So actually, we're on all of those platforms,
Okay,
and we
LinkedIn.
would love, and we're on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so if you can do hashtag Disrupt Aging
to find your stuff.
it on any of those platforms.
Okay,
absolutely.
people are asking about the wonderful videos. I do know that the food truck video and the What is Aging?
What is Old are
What
on
is Old
YouTube.
is on YouTube, so you can search YouTube AARP and
Yes.
What is Old and food
We'll be
truck
on the
video.
AARP channel on YouTube.
But the intergenerational workforce video, that's not public yet. Is that right?
I don't think we have posted.
Yeah,
it.
that's not,
Okay,
it
so
is
people
not
are
currently,
asking.
they want that?
They want it.
Excellent,
Right?
thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and people are saying this has been an incredible presentation. Any other questions? Please type them in. I'm reading. Maybe I can do this
People
so that
can
I can read
contact
even
us
better.
if people want any information, any additional information on any of this. They can reach out
absolutely
and contact us. And we'll be happy
Great.
to help them.
So remember that Camille is under the handle backward spelling of Camille.
Correct.
And Laura, you're on Twitter as
Yes,
well.
I'm on Twitter. It's at Lori Trowinski. It's
Yeah, Lori Trowinski is easier. You don't have to spell it
Right.
backwards. That would be hard.
Although it's
Pretty
hard
correct.
enough to spell forward. So
Right.
there you have it.
Some people are saying that they're starting these efforts in their own organizations, like the reverse mentoring,
Right. that's
and
right.
looking at including age in their D&I strategies. So let me close out. Let's see how we're doing on time. Well, anyone else have any questions? This has been really terrific. I'm heartened. I'm not ashamed to say I'm 56.
Great.
I always say that, and
Say it loud. Say it
yeah,
proud.
and I can do push-ups too because I'm a yoga teacher part-time. I can't tell jokes though, Lori.
Well, actually,
Do you want to conclude with a joke or
Yeah,
something?
so I wanted to tell people that you have access to the case study report online, but if you dial the 1-800 number right now at the bottom of your screen, you can get this report for $9.95, and I would even autograph it. If you call within the next 10 minutes, we'll send two for $14.95.
Excellent, excellent. With that, I think I'll go to our next slide to remind you that this is actually a conference board webcast that we were happy to partner with AARP on. Here are some related resources from the conference board, and of course the conference board does a lot of human capital practice work on diversity and inclusion, and we're learning what inclusion means, which is very different from diversity. Diversity is sort of all about counting heads, but inclusion is really making everyone belong to the workforce community, and it's just it's a much richer notion, concept that economists are not always able to study because we're used to counting things, right? So it's a little bit more nuanced than that. But I'm grateful to have both of you here today, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. I think we'll ask for you to give us some feedback so we can improve upon our webcast offerings in the future. If you like this topic of today's webcast, please say so, and we'll bring more of this kind of content to you, including maybe some stand-up comedians appearing. So maybe I'll do a little yoga pose in one of them. Anyway, thank you so much, and have a great day.